Use the brush tool to add texture to a clipping mask on your scrapbook pages. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to adapt a simple clipping mask using the brush tool to turn it into a postage stamp. I've already opened the template DST postage stamp clipping mask file from the download folder and made a copy of it. I've also pressed the letter D to reset the color chips to the default of black over white. This video is being filmed in advanced mode of Photoshop Elements, but the instructions are exactly the same for Photoshop, except where noted. Let's begin by turning on the rulers. In the menu bar, choose View and place a check mark next to Rulers. Then we're going to hide the visibility of all of the layers except for the paper clipping mask layer and the background layer. To do that, in the Layers panel, click on the visibility icon of each layer to hide them. Next, we'll prepare to brush on a layer mask. Get the brush tool, and in the tool options, open the brush picker, open the drop-down menu and choose Default Brushes. Choose a hard, round brush. If you don't see the hard, round brush, open the flyout menu and choose Large List. Set the size to 30 pixels, the opacity to 100%, and the mode to normal. Open the brush settings, set the fade to 0, the hue jitter to 0, the scatter to 0, the spacing to 200%, the hardness to 100%, and the roundness to 100%. Photoshop users can find the brush settings in the manual. Press Ctrl+ or Command+ on a Mac 3 or 4 times to zoom into the top left corner of the shape. To reposition while zooming, hold down the spacebar and click and drag on the document. In the Layers panel, click on the paper clipping mask layer to make it the active layer. Click on the Add Layer Mask icon. The foreground color chip should be black. If it's not, press the letter X to make black the foreground color. On the document, place the cursor at the 3-inch intersection on the paper clipping mask. It should be slightly inside the top left corner. Holding down the Shift key, click and drag a dotted line across the top of the shape, stopping outside the shape. If you make a mistake and need to undo the dotted line, press Ctrl-Z or Command-Z on a Mac to undo the last step. Back at the starting point at the top left corner, center the cursor on the first dot. Click, then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line down the left side of the shape, stopping outside the shape. Along the top edge of the shape, starting at the 6th dot from the left, center the cursor on that 6th dot. Click and then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line straight down the shape, stopping outside the shape. There should now be 4 single dots between the 2 vertical lines. Along the top edge of the shape, starting at the 11th dot from the left, center the cursor on the 11th dot. Click and then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line straight down the shape, stopping outside the shape. Along the top edge of the shape, starting at the 16th dot from the left, center the cursor on the 16th dot. Click and then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line straight down the shape, stopping outside that shape. Continue making dotted lines beginning at the 21st dot, the 26th dot, and the 31st or last dot to finish the vertical dotted lines. There should be 4 single dots between each vertical dotted line. Now let's create the horizontal dotted lines. Begin on the left side at the 6th dot from the top and center the cursor on the 6th dot. Click and then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line straight across the shape, stopping outside the shape. On the left side at the 11th dot from the top, center the cursor on the 11th dot. Click and then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line straight across the shape, stopping outside the shape. On the left side at the 16th dot from the top, center the cursor on the 16th dot. Click and then hold down the Shift key and drag a dotted line straight across the shape, stopping outside the shape. Continue making dotted lines beginning at the 21st dot, at the 26th dot, and at the 31st dot, or the last dot, to finish the horizontal dotted lines. Each dotted line should now have 4 dotted spaces between it. All intersections should line up. Press Ctrl-0, Command-0 on a Mac to fit the image to your screen. In the Layers panel, click on the visibility icon of all of the layers to reveal them. In the menu bar, choose View and uncheck Rulers. Next, you'll want to add a drop shadow. Instructions for this can be found in the manual. Let's clip a paper to the clipping mask. Get the Move tool, and in the Layers panel, click to activate the paper clipping mask. Open a paper of your choosing. I'm using the Paper Raspberry Gold file from the Download folder. On the document, hold down the Shift key and click and drag the paper onto the new document. Holding down the Shift key while adding something to a document ensures that the item will land in the center of the document. In the menu bar, choose Layer, Create Clipping Mask. You may want to position the clipping mask to a different area of the page. Instructions on how to do this can be found in the manual. A word of caution when using this technique. When adding a paper behind the photo clipping mask or the paper clipping mask, it will show through the dotted stamped lines of that clipping mask. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Since the paper is behind the mask, we can see the paper through the mask, so you'll want to keep that in mind. In this example, this paper is lacking good contrast and it's diminishing the postage stamp effect. To fix that, I've added a simple white paper mat behind my postage stamp image. Lastly, you'll want to finish your page as desired and save the document as a layered PSD file with a unique name. This technique was the perfect thing to add a bit of texture to this otherwise ordinary paper clipping mask without taking away from the beautiful subject of my page. And on this page, I moved the mask to a different area and I clipped a photo to it instead of a paper. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. This has been Gina Harper with Digital Scrapper. We help you get your stories told.